kilometers per hour.
Made the best of it.
There you go, guys. You heard it. Like Scott said, we made the best of it. And if you want to find out how we ended up here in third place, you're going to have to watch this whole video. So here we are qualifying, just took the green flag, so we got 2 laps. This is gonna be, and forgive me, I'm gonna mute the audio here for drivers. But this is gonna be about a 50-ish second lap, wide open the whole way around. Not a whole lot of complexity to qualifying here. Now, you do want to try to mitigate as much as you can losing speed. That's kind of the name of the game, is just keeping your speed up. Everyone's got the same equipment, theoretically. So there's really not a whole lot to gain here. And although the yellow line rule does apply in real life, you can actually run down there in qualifying. And be fine. You know, there's no stewards watching. Man, 55 seconds. I was not expecting these to be that slow in qualifying. If I'm being very honest, I was expecting quite a bit quicker than that. 4 to 5 seconds, which I guess I'm so used to the cup cars, right? But this is the Draftmasters series, so it kind of spans Daytona, Talladega. I think they've got Atlanta in here now, as well as iRacing Speedway. I think they've got all 4 tracks where they alternate cars as well. And that's why it's called Draftmasters. It's guys who excel in the draft regardless of what they're running for a car. Just guys who've got that natural knack for running drafting type tracks. So we're going to run down here just to see if this can be enough to get us the pole. Wasn't even faster. So let's see. I'll let it over here a little bit. How much faster was the leader? The leader was significantly faster. 1.5 tenths faster. That's quick. That guy's moving on. Alright, everybody, welcome back. We are, well, a little over halfway through this first pace lap here. Getting ready to go to the green. Last lap, pace car's going to pull in here. We are running, as I said earlier during qualifying, we are running the Draftmasters races. So these are open setup. Everyone's got their own setups. It's not a fixed thing where we're all running the same equipment with the same setup. While the cars are all built to spec as far as, you know, you don't have an advantage if you have a Ford or a Chev or whatever. Yeah. You do have an advantage on setups. And I do apologize in advance. Typically, these races tend to have a little more language in the chat. I don't want to disable it just because it's so important. And this race may get a little boring because I plan to just sit and ride, hopefully behind this leader here, who's a little weird on his starting rhythm here. I don't like that, but we're just going to try to sit and ride. So if this gets a little boring, I do apologize. But I just want to tuck in behind him. We're going to try to go... I probably shouldn't have ducked down that quick, but we're going to try to go just right around here on the bottom line. Hopefully get everybody in a line. The 4 doesn't want to. Just like that. We're only here to finish the race. We're not too worried about where we finish, as long as we finish with no incident points. As you can see, you'll see the incident point marker chop up at the top there. Oh, okay, I don't want to be behind this guy. He's got lag. We do not want that. So if I can get ahead of this guy on the outside, we're going to go by him.
Hold your line. Still there. Still there. Still there. Still there. Hold your line. Hold your line. V4.
I also can't see the yellow line from where I'm at, so that makes this a little more treacherous. We've got a good run into the corners. Problem is we're not getting any speed on exit. And I mean none.
Still there. Hold your line. Still there. You're clear outside. Car slow. Still there.
Romero, you are blinking bad, my man. I can't stick with you.
Hold your line. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Still
Well,
there.
maybe we'll see what it looks like from the front.
Still there.
Theoretically, I think we should be good to go on fuel. Shouldn't need fuel, shouldn't need tires.
Hold your line.
So we'll just see how this car runs.
Still there. Still there. Still there. Hold your line. Inside's clear.
We're going to stay right up here with this number 4 car.
Inside. Hold your line.
He's pushing me really well. He's
Inside
not
line.
physically pushing as far as actually impacting, but he's taken all that air off my rear spoiler, which is exactly what I need him to do. That's where we're going to find speed. We got that inside line all broken up now,
Lap time was 52.7.
and I kind of got back together here.
Still there. Hold your line.
Try to get down on these guys' door a little bit and side draft them, just to keep them behind us, right? We gotta dump the air that's on our nose onto them in order to slow them up. That's kind of how this whole concept of drafting works. You're faster behind a guy,
Hold that line.
and you got to manipulate the air to affect those around you. Now you don't want to be too aggressive because it's early, but at the same point, there's no caution. So if you get back in the pack, there's no catching up.
Still there. Hold your line. Hold your line.
Good lap. That's your quickest so far.
Still there. Still there. Still there.
So we're going to get down here as much as we can, side draft these guys. He's going to stick with me. He's good.
Still there. Hold your line. Hold your line. Hold your line.
I don't know. This is getting interesting here.
Still there.
And our body is going to
Inside.
take me out.
Hard low. Still there.
We lost the helper that we had.
Hold your line.
P3.
Still there.
Let's see if this Toyota here will push us a bit.
Hold that line.
Looks like it's Scott.
Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Still there. Still there. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Still there.
Got to get down on their door. We really got to slow them down. The outside line doesn't seem to be where the speed is.
Still there. Hold your line. Hold your line. Hold your line.
P2. That was 52.9. Okay, Evan. That's good consistency. Keep it up.
Still there. Hold your line. Still there.
Let's go, Scott. Oh.
What the fuck, man? Fuck.
They're around behind us.
Still there. Hold that line. Still there. Hold your line. Hold your line.
Fucking idiot.
Still there.
Again, I do apologize for the language. Unfortunately, there's
Still there.
not much I can do about it. This type of racing, you kind of
Still there.
need to have that communication. I guess you don't need it, but...
P4.
Hold your line. Hold your line.
Scott, do we have no help right now? There's my answer. Never mind.
Hold your line.
Alright.
Hold your line.
So we gotta find an
I
opening.
was waiting.
Still
Nothing was
there.
happening, though.
The low side.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I understand.
Car low.
This'll work.
Hold that line. Still there. Clear on the inside.
One single file. Try and catch up. 6, I'll let you in if you want.
Alright, so it looks like now we're gonna single file out here a bit. Which is fine. Got cars coming out of the pit. That's always a recipe for a little bit of disaster, potentially.
Time was at 53.0.
All it takes is for one of those guys to get a little loose down there on the apron. And you're in a mess. See that? That little wiggle? That's not a fun feeling.
Car low. Still there. Clear low. Car low.
This might be a good couple guys to work with right here.
Front is Wilson.
Still there.
Kraus is now in the lead.
Still there.
This is the one downside to the crew chief app,
Still there.
is sometimes
Hold your line.
in this situation when he says guy in front is, I want to know that it's Scott,
Feels good.
right?
Watch your race pace.
Still
I don't care about the guy who's technically a position ahead while he's halfway up inside of me. I need to know who the guy is that I'm effectively behind, who I'm pushing.
Hold your line. Still there. Hold your line.
Up to the top,
Still
Jake.
there.
Thank you.
Hold your line. Hold your line. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. 3 wide, cars left and right. Your outside is clear.
P5.
Car inside. Romero.
Ooh,
Clear
I
all
raced
around.
it the same way,
Car
11.
inside. Hold your line. Still there.
for what it's worth, Kraus, he's blinking a bit.
That line.
I don't know what he did, but that might be something to take into
Still
consideration.
there. Clear inside.
Nah, he repeatedly hit me and got me loose in the corner.
That'd do it.
Car on the low side. Low side's clear.
Alright, so we're running
Behind is now 9.8.
fifth here, give or take. Might be a little lower than that. Might be seventh. Just not in too big of a panic. I imagine as we get closer to the end, it's going to get dicier and dicier and dicier. It's one of those things, you need to be in position in order to make the move. But at the same point, you know, it's a double-edged sword with these types of tracks. If you put yourself in a position to make a move, then you're in a position to get caught up in someone's mess when they make a move, right? It's really, drafting tracks are a real interesting dynamic. Like, as you can see, I'm not even running wide open here all the time. A lot of times I'm kind of off the throttle a little bit. Just trying to stay off the guy in front of me while still using that draft to push the line forward as a whole.
Still there.
And I know that's a weird concept,
Hold your line.
but I can't push the guy in front of me because he's pushing the guy in front of him. Well,
Still there.
actually, that probably isn't true. But the second place guy's pushing the front guy. You don't want to push the guy who's pushing. That's how you really get a group in trouble. Because now he's got weight on his front end, which means that his back end is, by its very nature, a little bit less pressurized, we'll say. It's got a little less downforce on the back in relative to the downforce he's got on the front. And so if I'm pushing him, he's that much more out of control all the way around the track. Makes it really, really sketchy. You've really got to be careful to not put yourself and other people in a bad position. Because as soon as you do, well, it could very well spell disaster, not only for you, but for a bunch of other people.
Hold your line.
As you can see, this line's kind of working forward. Problem is, I imagine that someone who hasn't worked with this 11 at this point might dive down and break this line up, and then they'll have speed again. But I think if you've worked with the 11, I think you know that you probably don't want to.
Hold your line. 3 cars wide. You're in the middle. Room out. Just lead in the right. Clear down low. You got a car on your inside. Still there.
Please don't push me 10 at this point.
Hold your line.
Now here we got lap car. This is a mess waiting to happen.
Clear low.
Way to go, lap car.
Car low.
Way to fucking go, man.
Clear low.
Just uninstall the fucking game.
Car on your low side.
Again, apologize for the language.
Still there. Still there.
What's your problem, 20?
Clear on the inside.
Sorry about that.
Now the good news is here, I don't think I got any damage, and everyone's kind of broken up, so chances of catching a group here might actually work out alright. Hey Scott, I'm ready to work with you again if I think we're going to be lined up here.
Sounds good. I'm not sure how much damage I have, though.
You got a car on the high side. Hold your line. You're the middle one. 3 wide. Clear on your right hand.
Yeah, you got a little bit on the back left here, but I don't know about elsewhere.
Car inside. You're clear on the low side.
Alright guys, let's leave this 10 car out. What are we doing?
Night shift.
What are we doing here, guys? Oh my goodness.
Car inside. Oh, we got cars left and right. You're in the middle.
Phillips, he's gaining on you. The gap's now 9.2 seconds.
Clear high.
You've just done a 54.0.
You got a car on the low side. Still there. Still there. Still there. Clear all round. Car inside. Clear on the low side. Car inside.
Kraus is now in the lead.
Hold your line. Still there. Still there.
Tuck in behind me, Scott. Let's go.
He's still there. Your inside's clear. There's a car inside.
Appreciate that.
Hold your line. Hold your line.
P3, 2 to go. Keep it together. We'll be on the podium.
Still there.
I'm not happy about that 4X that we got in that wreck.
4.8.
I mean, I probably could have done a better job avoiding it, but it's one of those things you want to keep as much speed up because, like I said earlier, there's no cautions. You're kind of in a pickle. Now, I won't be surprised if these two guys wreck each other. Scott has no speed right now, so we're just going to have to line up with Marco here, I guess, until someone else gets up here. But I think these guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they wreck each other, trying to take the win from each other.
Last lap. Bring it on home.
But worst case scenario, we'll be fine with the 3rd place. That's going to be okay.
I was supposed to go in for repairs.
We're not gaining on these guys yet, but if they wreck each other, which
Car low. Clear low.
I still wouldn't be surprised about. I mean, it'd be dumb for them to do that, but Marco, what are you doing?
Still there.
Car in front is Kraus.
Nice
Hold that
one,
line.
11.
Hold your line. Clear outside.
Well done, Evan. Great drive. That's a podium.
It was a good race.
Good push, good push. Thanks, man. Bien, André, bien.
All right, well, I'll take a third. That's
Nice
not a
race
bad
and
finish.
practice, you guys. Thanks.
For those of you that are, you know,
Yeah, nice win 11.
maybe a little new to
Probably be
iRacing,
bumping in the corners early in the race.
usually we have a
It almost wiped me out.
a little more, what will I say, strategy or technique to the racing, but, you know, it is what it is. We're happy with it. I'll take a third, and we'll see how we make out in the
Good run.
I rating and safety rating world.